I want to do a video on this topic, but I don't know how much storage I have on my phone, so we're in dangerous waters. But I just got dressed up for a job interview to then get on the call for them to tell me that it's a 0 hour contract. You don't think you could put that online anywhere? You know, it would be very useful. Don't waste my time and waste my makeup. But anyway, I thought while I'm in the mood, feeling in the job zone, I'll finally do a video that I've wanted to do for a really long time on my job interview tips, because I've had a few, and if I do say so myself, think I'm very good at interview. So I've had quite a few jobs already in my short life. So I just want to give you some insight, some tips, and some kind of obscure tips that really help you get the upper hand and are a little bit witchy and psychological. So this is my interview tips. Okay, first I'm going to talk about, also my tips are more about the way you present yourself and appearance and having the upper hand on men usually. So I'm going to first talk about in-person job interviews, and then I'll do a separate section for online or telephone. Yeah, okay, we'll do online and telephone together. So for an in-person interview, you need to get there early, and not just to impress the employer. You need to get there early so you can look your fucking best. Because if you are traveling in on the tube, whatever, you're going to get there and you'll look somewhat disheveled, okay? And the worst thing could be for you to come in and just have to go straight to interview. So actually, I'm going to do like a what would be in my interview bag as well. So you come in, you greet the person at the reception desk. You should be like 10-15 minutes early. They'll ask you to sit down and wait. You can ask them where the bathroom is. You go to the bathroom. In your bag, you need to have, this is what you need to do. You need to brush your hair and have it look slick. Make sure there's no flyaways. You want to look immaculate, like you are so put together. You need to touch up your lipstick. Make sure everything is in place where it should be. You just want to look so together, like you have your life together, okay? So I'm going to show you what else you need to have in your interview bag. A comb for your pre-interview glam check. Even if you're a guy, you pack it. You better have a bag. This is like, I'll pretend I'm going to interview. You need to have your makeup that you're wearing that day. You don't need excessive like this. Just pick out the same shade, maybe the eyeshadow, anything that could have got smudged on your journey or just not look that. I highly, 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 highly recommend a red lip. I know I don't have one on right now, but it's fine. It's not the look that I was going for today. A red lip is like scientifically proven to give you more confidence. It's very appealing to men. When you're talking, people are already drawn to your lips, so if you can draw more attention by having a bold lip and a subtle eye, you got this. You got this. I highly, 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 highly recommend a red lip for interviewing. This is my favorite witchy tip for a face-to-face interview, especially with a man, right? You're gonna spray perfume here, here, and here. I swear to God, perfume, it does something to men, right? If you smell good, you already have the upper hand. You want to walk in and pre-corona, if you shook their hand, you just want to smell so good. It's so powerful. It's more powerful than you realize, especially if your interviewer is a man. Ooh, you need perfume. Another like women tip. Wear heels that are noisy. You want to make your presence known. This is all about making your presence known. So you want them to hear you. Clack, clack, clack. The power of a heel. Woo. Make sure they're heels you can walk in, because you don't want to be that person who can't walk in their shoes, because that's really embarrassing. But small heel that's loud. You want to walk in, you're going to introduce yourself, but before you even introduce yourself, they hear you coming along the corridor. They hear you approaching the room, and they're already, things are happening up there. You need to have your own water, just to hydrate yourself when you get there. It also just looks good. It looks like you take care of yourself. You're healthy, you're hydrated, you drink water. Even if you don't. You need to have your diary. This is really good for the end of the diary, or the end of your interview, or you can be like me and you can get there and you can shake hands and you take your little books out and you put your books on the side so they can see you got your diary, you're organized, and you've got your notes and it's ready on the side. This is the most important thing that you need to have at interview. You need to take notes. Usually in the beginning they'll tell you a little bit about the role. They might tell you the hours or what it is, and you write it down. You are that bitch who writes shit down. You want to look so organized and so put together, right? So you also need to have your own pen, because it just looks good. Every single time I go in my bag and I get my own pen out, I just see their face. They're like, we want her, she's organized. So yes, you definitely want to have your own pen. And my other tip for bringing a journal with you, the night before you go to the interview, you should have studied, you should know a bit about the company. You can write down some pointers in there and you can read it along your journey. But the most important thing you want to do is open a blank page and write out some questions that you are going to ask the interviewer. So usually at the end of an interview, they'll say, oh, do you have any questions for us? And if you're like, oh, not really, or you come up with something on the fly, it just doesn't look that good. You want to say, oh yeah, I actually, I pre-wrote some questions to ask you. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You could even ask, when would the role begin? When is the expected start date? And I just wanted to know, blah, 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 something really basic. What did I write? I had an interview today. I wrote, what are the hours? What are the days? And it's really not about the question. You could even ask a question that you already know the answer to. This is just to show them that you have really cared about the interview and you've taken the time to prepare yourself and write down in advance a question to ask them. It's all of this is all just like an illusion. It's all playing the game. You can ask something you already know. You can ask something that you already read. It's just for that split second when they ask you if you have any questions. So you can just go in your bag if your journal's not on the side, and you just look good. Okay, it's all about looking good. So no matter if it's face-to-face, telephone, or video conference, you want to have a copy of your CV printed out, and you want to put that shit in a plastic wallet, and you have one copy for the interviewer and you have one copy for yourself. And you walk into the interview, you shake their hands and you give them a copy of your CV, and you also have a copy that you can sit and you can look at face to face. Or if I'm on a video call, I'll have a copy of my CV next to me so I can just quickly glance if there's a date that I don't know. And then of course if you're on the telephone, they don't know what you've got, so you've got all your documents out. If you're in London, you probably need a coat. It will probably be cold. Before you leave your house, make sure you lint roll your coat and get off any fluff. You can even do it with sellotape. Just roll up sellotape on your hand and then just wipe all the fluff off. Any cat hair, dog hair. In some places I've had an interview where they ask to take your coat, so you want it to just be clean and nice, and you just slip out into your from your interview clothes, and reveal your interview clothes, not slip out of your interview clothes, and give them your coat to go and hang up for you. You have to play the game. My other tip is for when you first arrive. Once you're checked in, once you come back from the toilet and you look like that job is yours, you sit down with a book. Put your phone away. Put your headphones away. It looks so bad. You don't want to have your headphones in and then they come and you take a while to notice that they're there. You need to be completely aware of your surroundings for when that person comes to take you to your interview room. And you want to look smart. It's all about looks and how you appear to them. Before you've even interviewed, you're setting the tone. So you want to sit there. Your posture is so important. First, raise your shoulders up, roll them back, and then put them down. And this is how you will stay the whole time when you walk to the room, when you come back, when they say goodbye to you, the whole time through your interview. You want to be confident. You want to kind of lean forward when they talk to you. It's all about your appearance and looking put together. If you're sat and you're kind of timid, it's not giving them the right... It's not giving them what they need, you know? Even if you're scared, you need to be up, you need to be engaging, use your face, use your hands. That's my next thing. Wear a watch. Even if you don't wear a watch, this watch doesn't even work. Do you believe I put it on for my job interview? Because you're creating the illusion. Oh my gosh, I care about the time. I'm so punctual. I'm never late. I wear a watch. Do I wear a watch? Does a watch even work on a video interview? They can't see. You have to fool these people, guys. This is how you get places in life. So your book, yeah, you're sitting there and your interviewer comes over and he's like, oh, you must be blah, blah, blah. Oh, it's so nice to meet you. What are you reading? And it gets rid of that initial kind of awkwardness when you're walking to the interview room. You have a topic of discussion and you look like that bitch who carries a book. You can bring a book you've already read. They don't fucking know. Bring a book that you know inside out. Bring a book you've read 5,000 times. So when they ask you questions, you got it. You can summarize. You know exactly what the book is. You know it inside out. I always have a book, no matter what job interview it is. It's really good for your anxiety as well, because you don't want to keep going over and over your own notes that you've written about the job, because you can start to freak yourself out. I feel like there's a balance that you should have. So bring a book. I think that's everything in my interview bag. Pre-corona times, if you had an interview, I would recommend bringing cream. And when you go in the toilet and you get perfect, cream your hands, because you're going to shake hands with the interviewer. You want to have a really firm handshake. Don't crush them, but know that they feel it. There's nothing worse than a weak handshake, you know? And you want to make sure your hands are smooth. You want to have clean nails. Even if they're painted, just make sure they're not chipped. You just, again, I'm going to say it again, you want to look put together and well kept. You want to look well kept. You want to look like, I trust you with this job. You can run things, you know, you can handle this. You look how immaculate you look, like flawless. So even down to the hands, when you're talking with your hands, you don't want to have like dry hands, dirty hands. Every single part of you needs to be immaculate. And you might think, oh, Cleo, like no one is looking at this stuff. Trust me, they are looking. And even if they don't realize, it's doing something subconsciously to them. So like your books, they might not even take it into consideration, but then later on they might compare you to another candidate and they'll be like, well, that person came in, their shirts all everywhere, they look so unkept, they didn't even have a pen, their nose was running, you know, just you there's always going to be someone better and someone worse than yourself. So you might think all of these details seem minor, but they're all adding up to your score. And just to the employer liking you overall in comparison to the other people who will be interviewing. So that's my face-to-face tips. Now let's talk, in the age of Zoom and coronavirus, let's talk about online interviewing. Okay? Online interviewing, every single tip I just told you is still the same, right? But you can wear pajamas underneath like me. So I had an online interview today. I made sure I gave them a lot to look at. Everything looks nice, perfect. I gave them a backdrop that indicates that I am an educated woman. I had it kind of turned like this. You can see me, you can see my books, it looks good. So you want to pick a background where it gives them a little indication into your life, but you don't want to give them your whole life. Do you know what I mean? I collect dolls, but I wouldn't set my camera up in front of my door stand because that's not what I want my employer to see. Especially in the age of coronavirus, there needs to be a work and a private life separation. This is a first impression of your employer, and they don't need to see your washing. They don't need to see any personal photos, anything like that. If you have a blank wall or a nice wallpaper, I would suggest that you sit there. I feel like a bookshelf is a really good idea because it shows you, yes, I read. So if you have something like that you can show off, definitely go for it. But be mindful that your employer is never going to see your house in the normal world. So yeah, just keep your privacy private and only share what is beneficial to you. So yeah, books was really beneficial to me. Again, I say put on your watch. You might think that this is silly. Oh, I forgot a really good tip that I'm gonna have to edit in. That's fine. Yeah, you put your watch on. Even if it doesn't work, they cannot see. And you continue to talk with your hands, and you just look like that business woman who checks the time. So even on an online interview, I'll put my blazer, I put my watch, and I'm creating this illusion. I'm creating the ideal candidate that they want to see. So, online tips. Get there early still, because you're going to get nervous. So sign in a bit early. If they give you the Zoom link, there will be a waiting room. You click it early and you sit there and you wait for them to come in so that when they arrive, you're already there. You don't want to be late. You also want to turn your computer on in advance and just make sure that everything is set up and you have no internet issues. If you're having any dodgy signal, let the employer know before the interview begins. Just say, hey, I'm really sorry, but today my internet's kind of in and out. If that happens, I just want to let you know in case that happens, and I'll hop back in as soon as I can. Also, you need your journal again. You should still have your pre-written questions, even though it's face-to-face. It's not face-to-face, kind of is. It's still creating that look that you want. You don't need a book because you're not waiting. But yeah, just to have your little thing aside, and if there's something they say that you really want to remember, you just get it out and you just write it down. I think for face-to-face, that's as much, for face-to-face on camera, as much tips that I have. Yeah. I really like phone interviews, even though I absolutely hate answering the phone. It's the easiest to cheat on, you know? You can have your laptop next to you with with information about the company. You can have your pre-written notes. You can just read it and they have no idea. If I was on a camera and I had all of these notes, like, make sure you say this, da 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 da. If I'm looking down all the time, that's really just ridiculous. But on a phone, they have no idea. I remember having a phone interview. I had papers everywhere about the company, about what I wanted to say. I had my own CV. I feel like that's everything. I'll probably, if I forgot something glaringly obvious, I'll make another one. But I do want to make a series for my corporate creepy people. So this will probably be the first in my corporate creepy series. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're interviewing, best of luck. Just act my line throughout my entire career and working life: fake it till you make it. All of these tips I've given you today are just faking it and creating an illusion till you make it, till you get that job, and then you can slowly relax and be yourself in your appointment. But for the beginning, you fake it till you make it.